Okay, welcome. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you might be. My name is George, and today I'll be running us quickly through another episode of my YouTube videos on how to make good use of your GCP tools and how to maximize your utilization of what GCP has to offer. Okay, so this is getting started with application development on Google Cloud. And there's a demo here, demo API Explorer walkthrough. So I'm currently using a Windows 10 system. I'll be showing us how to go about doing this on Windows. Okay, so
runs from. In this
Okay,
demo, I'm going to
so
show
I would mute this and quickly flip through the videos uh, as we walk through. Okay, first of all, we need to go to our API Explorer to get there. Of course, the first thing he did was to go to API and Services dashboard. Of course, in the dashboard, he typed in compute. So we're interested in compute. So let's do that. Okay, so let's quickly go there. Compute API services library. Okay, so let's type compute, see what comes out. Okay, minutes. So okay, that's where we are. So click here and a compute engine API. So let's try this API. Click here. Of course, if it isn't enabled, you will enable it, and of course, when it's enabled, you will see try this API. So let's try this API and see. Of course, we will follow as he did um, in the tutorials, in the demo. Okay, so let's go. He goes through there. He's searching for compute insert. He wants to test out how to create an instance, a compute instance using API calls. So this is what is after compute instances insert. Okay, let's go back to ours. All right, so if you flip through here, see there are a lot. So we're looking for compute instances insert. How do we create instances? So let's go down. Okay, there we are. So click here and then here. Of course. Okay, sorry about the notification. I should have shut that down before doing the tutorial. So let's give it a minute. Okay, and of course our API Explorer shows up here. Okay, this shows up here, and of course let's go back to tutorials and see how he does that. Okay, so of course, okay, let's go back there. All right, so the project name was entered, API Explorer, then the zone, basically those, okay. Then of course the request body. For those of us who are into making API calls from our code, whether be it JavaScript, Python, whichever, we will immediately recognize this as JSON, and this is where we're passing the values, our fields and their values, and then make that request, API request, and then get a response, whether it's 200, 400, depending. Then we'll play around with what we have received, maybe make further request, or simply just move on to the next part of our code. Okay, so let's put in my project name is this, and the zone, of course, is Central 1A. Okay, so that's my zone. Let me make this bigger. All right, so that's my zone, and of course, source instance template. We're not using that, so we are not working with that. Okay, so this is the next place we'll play around with. Previously, I had walked through this and I was able to resolve a lot. Okay, so I'll be copying and pasting, of course, I'm explaining. The beauty about this part is that you don't need to actually remember a lot. You know, these buttons will tell you what should be part of these the fields that you should enter right after name and machine type. There's so many. As I go through it, you will see what I'm trying to say. Okay, first of all, machine type. Let's look at what he did. Let's see. He actually pasted, he had already created this formatted JSON file, values, and then pasted it in here. Okay, so let me click to hold. See that there is a pattern, there's a structure, there's a format. I remember the format, it is easy for you. So if you look through here, you see it's projects, the name of the project, zone, name of the zone, machine type, the name of the machine type. Okay, so it's slightly different. Compute version 1 comes in. I don't know whether that is taken in by default, but in my own case, I'll be entering that. So let me begin. I would say mine is compute version, the API version, then projects, and that's my projects. Okay, sorry. Trap, and then zone, zones, and we have a US Central 1A. Okay, and then we have machine types. Okay, I'm doing F1 micro. Let me be sure I'm really correct. Let me look at the one. Let me look at the one I did. And, okay, so machine types F1 micro. Okay, all right. So that's it. I would still copy this, but let me show you how you can use the Explorer to actually put this out. I know, bring out all this without necessarily doing it here, and you see the beauty of the Explorer. Okay, so we have the project, the zone name, the machine types, the machine type. I'm using a micro, so take note of that. Projects, the name, that's the format. Compute what version, projects what project, zone what zone, machine type what machine type. Okay, so let's give it a name, Bobo. Okay. Okay. Then after that, in my own file, I have a disk. So let's put a disk in there. All right. So you see, click that one. Then disk. Which item in the disk? Let's say, let's take auto delete to true. Let's set that to true. Then let's pick another field, boot. True. Okay, sorry. True. Let's pick another one. I think I had device name, and then I had this size. That one I did 20 gig. What again? Then I had mode. Then I had initialization parameters. We will walk through that. So let's go back to device name. What device name did I call? What did I use? Okay, so I used instance 1, boot true. I've done that one. Mode, read, write, type, persistent. The disk type is persistent. Device name, instance 1. Okay, so let's go to device name. Let's put the device name there, instance 1. Let's go to mode. You see, it gives you an option to pick read only or write. We're reading and writing. Then, of course, let's begin. The disk name is here. Let me take that from here. Okay, no name. This time, adjust the disk size. Okay. Okay, I still did this double, but it doesn't matter. This size, this type, and then of course the source image. Okay, it's persistent disk, so the disk type doesn't really matter there. So I will skip that. So let me ignore this one. You can easily delete this and it will simply just go back. Take out one line and continue. So what are we doing? I need to supply the source image and the disk size. Okay, so I'll do the disk size here and put 20 gig, and then source image. Okay, so this is where we need to really pay attention. Now look at this. Okay, so all right, let me make that bigger. You can see the source image. Formerly, I did compute version 1 projects, my project, global images, and try to give it an image name. There were issues because this family of images actually belongs to this project. So this is the URL. You need to tell it you're talking about compute version projects of this, and then in there you have global images family of this type. Of course, it will pick the latest. Now, the advantage of using family when supplying a boot disk is that whenever there's a new version of that particular family, the image, you will be given that image. You don't need to manually update it. So let me copy this as the boot source image for my boot disk, put it there. Okay, so that's taken care of. All right, so let's bring this back. Okay, so what other things are we supposed to do? Network interfaces. We will do that one. All right, so let's look quickly. Now, if you look carefully, this is square brackets, and of course it ends here. So when anything between here and here has to do with the disk, and we're not, we don't want to add any new thing for the disk. We want to add network interfaces. So we need to come down here, click here, and of course network interface, and it's there. So what's the first thing we do? Network, subnets, and of course access configs. Okay, so let's pick the network. Okay, I think I did that twice. One moment, please. Let me. Okay, no, I'm in order. So square brackets, the square brackets should take in curly brackets. Okay, so let's do network. Let's do subnets, and then let's do access configs. Let's go back to my own documents. Okay, for network, we have compute version 1 projects, Hayfly Trap, global networks, default. So I'm taking the default network here. If I had created a custom network, then the URL will not end at default, will not end at default, rather it will end with the name of the network, the custom network I created. So let me copy this one, okay, and come here and paste that here. Okay, so what else should we be working with? Okay, configs. In the config section, we have just the name and the type. So let me click on that, do that, name, and of course type. Type is 1-to-1. The name is external NAT. Okay. All right. So let's be sure we're in order, and that's it. All right. So there and there, that's the minimum we have. You can add more configurations to it. A lot, in fact. Let me click this. If you look, okay. All right. So this is an example of a request body. These are all the options, the fields, and the field value value type, string where it is string, and a num where it is a num. So these are the things you can supply to use to create your instance. Okay, so let me click here. Of course, two authentication process, Google OAuth 2.0, and then API key. Of course, you've signed in already with your account, so it will automatically use your credentials to authenticate you. So let's click here and see what happens. Okay, an authentication window comes in. So I pick one of my accounts. The project, my current project is associated with this account. So I click on that one. of course, and it takes a few minutes, and of course we get a 200 response from our request. Okay, so you see here, you now have the ID, the name, the zone, the operation type, target status, user progress, and the rest of them. With this return to you, you could do other things. You could present this information to your user, or you could use this to check if which other status say running, it's running. So let's do the next thing, which is create a network. You also make another API call to create a network. So let's put this back there and then check to see if we actually succeeded, if we actually have a compute engine instance. Compute instance that was created. Okay, so there we are. So we click on that to go into see other properties of that instance. Okay, it's called Boo. Okay. Sorry, just give it a minute. All right, so it's called Boo, and that's the name I called it, and that's it. And of course, every other thing. So it's as simple as that. It's pretty straightforward. With that, you can make API calls, test out your API calls in the API Explorer using your credentials. When you're ready to run, you can simply click further in the API Explorer. Now check this out. When you want to make curl requests from your terminal, this is all you need. The data, of course, is all we find here. That's the whole of this. And of course, the header type, accepted type is JSON. The other header, the application type JSON, of course, content type. Then the header, of course, your access token, which you can generate in your console. Of course, you want to make a HTTP request, which I would do as a Python developer for my Python code. This is what I would use, and then pass in this payload into the request and send it. And of course, JavaScript, this is what you would use to make your JavaScript request and then create your instance from your code. Okay, so this is how we make our API calls. It's pretty easy. Just follow steps here, and of course, this is done on Windows, and of course, can be done in any other system. Thank you for watching. If you found this interesting, please leave some likes, and of course, you can follow my channel for further videos and tutorials.